Hi, I'm Craig Phillips. In this video, I'm going to show you how to install your own bath. Connect your hot and cold feed to your taps, fit a bottle trap to your waist with an overflow and a plug set. It'll be finished off with panels around the side and sealed along the top. And the products you're going to require are a bath, side panels, a set of legs, a support for the centre, a couple of brackets, tap connectors, your mixer tap, an overflow, a bottle trap and a plug set. So the first stage of your install is to fit the legs. Now this particular one comes with two sets like this, which one will be fitted on the left hand side and one will be fitted on the right hand side. And then we also have a centre support like this. So we'll do this one last. Now these often come with manufactured pre-drilled holes in here and sometimes in the base of your bath as well, and the outer frame here. So they've got to be fixed to the outer frame on both sides of it and of course in the centre of the bath. Now what's very important is what size screws that you use. You will get these with your kit and they come in different sizes. What you have got to bear in mind is the base of the bath, this is made of fiberglass of course, has a piece of wood in there. Now that to me looks about 18 millimeters thick. So of course you don't want to go through with a larger screw like this right the way through and have it piercing through the inside of the bath. So be very cautious and follow your instruction manual of what size screws you're going to be using. Down here, it's not so bad because you've got a wooden batten around the frame for support, and that's probably about 40 or 50 millimeters thick. So I'm going to start by screwing this one down. You've got a couple of pilot holes already drilled into them. You can take a cordless screwdriver and drive them in. Same the opposite side. The same on this side. And another one. And now we'll do the same to the back of the legs. Okay, so they're fixed in now front and back. Now I'll turn my attention to the centre point here, and this is where we do have to be cautious, of course, with the length of these screws. So stand them alongside it first, double check that once it goes through that pipe, it's only going to catch into this timber less than the 18 millimeters depth of what it is. Same again on the opposite side. Okay, so that's the two side legs in position. Now the centre support. What I've done earlier is measure the length of the bath and your width of it. Just draw yourself a little cross in the centre there. And then you can place that over it. And again, going back to your very small screws here, these are probably only about 15 millimeters wide, through the bracket and into the base of the bath. So that's the two side legs firmly fitted into position and the centre support. The next stage is to fit the bottle trap and the overflow. Now as for the waste trap at the bottom of your bath, it can often be two different types. And the most common ones is a bottle trap, which is what we're going to be using here, which of course your bath water will go into here. It'll be caught in the bottom trap, it'll be exited through the waste pipe here, and our overflow runs into there as well. Or you could get a thing called a U-bend, which works pretty similar, but we don't have this bottle trap here. It's shaped like a U, and that'll also trap water in it. The idea of the water being trapped in, it stops any smells coming from the drains to come back through your plug hole. So this is connected to the bottom of the bath. It'll have a washer on it here, and that'll be fixed to this point. On the inside of the bath will be the plug section. This also has a washer on the underside here. Now that will be slid through until it finds the thread, and then it's hand tightened all the way down, and that'll create a nice waterproof seal from this black washer here and also the washer on the underside of there whilst they squeeze together. So this will be at this position. Once that's in, on the other side of the bath, which is what you see here, the plug you'll press up and down, that then will screw in over the top like this. And once it's screwed in, it can press to be closed, hold the water, released to release the water. So that's in position on here. I'll take that back out of our washer and that'll be there. Then the next stage is the overflow. And this is this mechanism. Hopefully you'll never have to use this, but if you did and the water fills up, to stop it overflowing on the sides, it'll run in through this hole, which is what you'll see on the inside will be this device. You'll see that and it'll have a small gap in it that'll allow the water to weep its way through and run down into the overflow. Now this has to be sealed, of course, on the back of the bath, which will be this black washer. That'll be fitted to here. This will be placed on there and then that will screw into that and hold it all into position. This flexible tube here then can be connected to the actual bottle trap itself and tightened up. Once it's all into position, it shouldn't move at all, but hopefully you won't have to ever rely on the overflow. Start by sliding the black washer on the underside of the plug. Place the plug into the pre-cut hole of the bath, then go to the other side. Get the second black washer, put that up around the thread to the underside of the bath, slide into the bottle trap till it meets the thread and start to turn it clockwise till it gets nice and tight and squeezes the two rubbers. Then take your plug, this also has a thread in it, place it into the plug hole and also turn that clockwise until it bites. That's your plug in position. So now the next stage is the overflow. And again, remove the plastic protective covering of any of the area of the bath before applying the parts. Now I'm applying a clear multi-use waterproof adhesive on the back of the rim of the top overflow grid. Place this onto the bath, press it gently, the adhesive should hold it into position. Pull the screw through so far and then apply more of your adhesive around any of the cavity gap. So place the top of the overflow pipe and the black washer against the back of the bath. Start to screw the nut in place. This will start to peek through the opposite side. Now often you get a socket or a spanner like this one to tighten it up. Place the nut on the other side and make sure that's nice and tight using an adjustable spanner. And then screw the cap on the front, leaving a small gap around the top to allow any water to overflow through. Then slide the overflow pipe into the bottom of the bottle trap. Line up the thread and screw these together by hand. No tools are required. So these are the mixer taps that I'm going to be using for my bath. They're mounted on the top and then they're fixed down on the underside from the bottom. So you start by taking these two nuts off here. There's one washer, a rubber one that comes off, and we leave that one on. And same again on the opposite side. Once they're off, you'll see you've got a couple of little holes in here which line up with the holes on the bottom of your tap. As you can see, the holes are pre-drilled for the taps on this bath. If your bath requires the holes drilling, check out another video we have on YouTube showing you how to set them out, pre-drill and fit your taps. You'll feel them little kind of nibs that are on the bottom of the bath just bite into these little kind of bracket washers. Then we take our rubber ones, place them on the back, one on each. And then our nut, we start to screw from the bottom right the way up to the top, making sure that this flat edge is the one that touches the underside of the bath. Tighten them up by hand the best you can. If you're happy with them, then you can tighten them with your swan neck tap connector. So now they're nice and secure on there. The next stage is to connect the two tap connectors. Now these have a washer already inside them. Again, start off by hand tighten them the best you can. And then they can be tweaked and tightened up a little bit more with a set of pliers. I'm just doing probably about half a tin. There we go, so they're connected to there, and then these will connect later on when the bath is in position to your hot and cold feed. So that's our bath now assembled. The feet are fitted into position, the waste pipe's in situ, and the taps are connected to the hot and cold feed below. All I need to do now is find its location, work out what height it's got to be, and then get it fitted level. So this is the position where my bath is going to be installed. I put my spirit levels on them, and it's quite level going all the way around the sides here. They are adjustable on the legs because remember at home your floor may be uneven, but the actual finished height is dictated by your side panel. So this is the side panel we've got for here, and the way these are designed with a flat piece along the bottom here, which of course is going to sit on your floor, and then the top of it has this kind of recess lip on there, let's call it, which hooks underneath the bottom rim of the bath there, and you can feel a little channel just underneath there, and that'll hook into position. So you don't want to set your bath at a particular height where you have to cut any off there, because this all adds to the actual stability and the strength of the panel itself. Now, when that is fitted underneath there, the top or the bottom rim of your bath there wants to sit on the top lip here. So that's pretty much perfect there. I'm going to check it on the other end. And that, give or take about 1 millimetre, I can drop that down a little bit. It's pretty much perfect where it needs to be. We know that this is level along here, so I'm going to take my pencil and draw a little line just at the bottom of the rim of the bath there, and do the same again this end. So now I can remove the bath and using my spirit level, draw a line from mark to mark, making sure that it's perfectly level. Then I'm going to cut a batten down to size, drill, plug and screw that to the wall, which is predominantly going to hold the weight of the bath. You can imagine a substantial amount of weight in here when there's an adult in it and the water is filled more or less to the top. So the two battens are now firmly fixed, perfectly level into position. I've also done some alterations on my pipes down here. I've put 2 isolating valves on as well as elbows and brought these up ready to be connected to the tap connectors. I've put a waste pipe in here. It's not connected up on the outside yet, but the next stage is now to offer the bath back into position, sit it on this batten and see if any of the legs need adjusting. Okay, so now I've got my exact position for the bath. It's solid, it's level. Now I need to fix it into place, and to do that using 2 methods. I'm going to move the bath back out now. Use some general purpose silicone along the edge, the top edge of the 2 battens, and also the edge of the back of the bath and the top end there. Bed it into position. So remember that silicone on there now isn't sealing this, of course. It's just gluing it against the wall. Then a couple of angle brackets will be fitted into the batten on the underside of the bath itself and into the batten that I put on earlier on both sides. That way it will not move. Now before I completely tighten them 2 brackets up either side and the silicone is still wet, I've put some weight in the bath. Some people fill this up with water, but I've just put some dust sheets in it and 3 bags, 25 kilos of gravel. So there's about 75k in there and I'm myself sitting on it. And I'm just going to run a line of the silicone now right the way along this edge here. So I'm just going to clean my finger with the silicone wipe and then press down that silicone so it completely fills that gap. So now it starts to get awkward. We've got to obviously plumb the hot and cold feed in and the waste. I'm going to start with my waste. Now the back of the trap has a nut on it like this and another washer. Always make sure that them washers are in the right position. This slides over the actual waste pipe. It's a 40mm waste pipe. Now some people have these set up differently. I've turned my overflow around to the kind of the front end of the bath there, so my waste directly comes out the back and goes straight into the actual main waste itself. Sometimes plumbers will have that turn the opposite way and relocate where their waste's coming out and put a couple of elbows, 90-degree elbows on there, taking it around. But this, for this situation, just felt a little bit better to do it. So I'm going to try and push the black pipe into it, so that's in now. Slide the little red washer up and then start to hand screw the nut onto the thread of the actual bottle trap. You can only turn your hand a little tiny bit at a time when you're doing this. I've got a little light set up at the back just so I can see that I'm getting the thread in square. You don't really need any tools with this, just as tight as you can with your hands. And that's got it. That's all we need on there. Now it's the copper connection. So I'm going to take this off. Again, take out the little copper olive. Slide this over my pipe. And then the olive over the top of it. Bring the bottom of the tap connector. They're flexible, so you have got a little bit of movement in them. Sliding it over the top like this. Pull the nut back up. And just, I can get it, start to hand tighten it onto the thread as far as you can. Once you've got that far, then you're going to need your adjustable spanner again in your grips and tighten that up from on there. So I've turned my water mains back on now, undone my valves below, just get the air out of these taps, or out of the pipe should I say. Yes, we have water pressure now. What we're going to do is just turn them off and then feel underneath just to see if we've got any leaks around any of them joints. No. Lovely and dry. Yeah, that's perfect. Lovely and dry underneath there, and the waste as well. So I'll keep an eye on that for a few minutes. The next stage is now to fit on the side panels, and then we're complete. The next stage is to fit the two side panels. Now this one, the long one of course, has a little kind of a lip along the edge there, which will hook on the underside of the bath. We've got a little groove just in the bottom of there, and that kind of holds that in quite well and stops it moving. The bottom of it, down here, I'm going to be fitting a batten. I'm going to be gluing a batten to the tiles. That's going to be in line with this corner and in line with that end there, and that will catch this bottom lip and to stop the bottom bit actually kicking in there. Once this is fixed into position and hooked under there, then we will be cutting down this top side panel, so that also fits behind there. And as you can see, it's about 40 or 50 millimeters too big at the moment, so that will be cut down on that end there, where it will be sealed over with some silicone at the end. Place that up there, out of the way. Now this batten needs to be level from there, and then just about another 12 millimeters in for the bottom lip on there. So that's level. And then 12 millimeters past that, about that is about there. I'll do the same on the opposite end. Place the batten on my two marks. Pencil line on the floor. and then apply some general purpose sealant on there. Place that onto the silicone, right where your line is. A little squeeze down and that should grab. So now my bottom batten there is grabbed. I'm also going to put a corner batten in here. Basically cut that and stick it under that corner. The reason being is this entire bath, of course, is fixed really tight to a batten on the back wall and the top head wall. We've got the legs here taking the weight of any movement here. This corner, you will have just a tiny little bit of movement on there. Now, most of the manufacturers say that's fine as it is with your two pieces of back panels in place, but I just prefer to put it on there as a bit of bolt and braces. You know, you never know if the children are going to be standing on there while they're climbing into the bath. So just stabilising that corner is the way forward. So that should just fit quite snug under there. And remember, there is the batten that's already fitted underneath there by the manufacturers. That fits on the edge of there and straight up. Remember, we're just leaving enough space here for that side panel also to clip into and butt against. Now I'm going to fix two angle brackets to both ends of the corner batten. Place this in position, fix it down to the bottom batten and screw it up to the top of the bath. So now I will put my side panel back in that corner. That's it, we're in now. Perfect. And we just want that little bit of a gap underneath there. And I'm going to prop that up. I'll just prop it up with a screw at the moment because that's where we'll put some clear sealant and hold that into position. So this little kind of lip that's hanging out there like a tongue and groove, that is going to be sliding behind that. So we want to take a measurement of that and pop it about here. Now I'm gauging that by eye, but it's about 10 centimetres. Measure that at home yourself. That's going to hook in there. So now we'll take a tape measure to the end of the bath, not necessarily up to the wall at this point. And that's giving me there about 685 millimetres. I'm going to measure from that lip, 685. Remember, your style bath that you pick at home might be different than this, so don't take my measurements, do measure your own panel. That mark and that cut there now will take me almost flush to my concrete board here. However, we do want to leave a gap again to slide that tile behind it. The cut will be covered and sealed with some silicone, but we do want to be able to slide those tiles behind just about 10 or 15 millimetres. So where my mark is there, I'm allowing another about 15 millimetres, which will be here. Then I take a measurement of that, which is about 72 for me. Transfer that at the bottom. And that's my cut line. The pencil doesn't work. And that's my line I'm about to cut with a 4-inch grinder and a diamond tip blade. If you're not experienced using a grinder, it might be wise to apply some tape on the surface to avoid scratching the surface. Slide another batten in there, glue that down just to hold that leg, stop it kicking in when I'm putting a bit of pressure on there. So now once you're happy that that fits in there okay, we can now glue this into position. A little bit of silicone down the back, set it so it's nice and tight. I'll put a little bit of a tape around it until it dries, and I've still got my gap down here and about 15mm for the tiles to slide behind, just like we have at the top end of the bath. I'm running a line of clear silicone along the bottom of the bath panel. It'll also stop any spillages out of the bath, going onto the tiles and running underneath. So that's how you install a bath, plumb the taps and the waste pipe and fit 2 side panels. If you're looking for more how-to videos, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you just want to know more about the products that Bathroom Mountain sell, visit their website, bathroommountain.co.uk.